Vinny, all my love from South Philly. Mwah. Peace out, pal.
Vinny from South Philly.
You're watching Vinny from South Philly.
All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Vinny Presents. And joining us originally from Kansas City. And listen, I know I'm an Eagles fan, Kate, but listen, we love this guy, okay? So give a chance. But anyway, by way of Los Angeles, California, Hollywood to be exact, here is filmmaker and member of the Producers Guild, my man, Michael Blevins. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Vince, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Pleasure to have you, my friend. I know we've been trying to set this up for some time now. I'm glad you're with us.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm sure my audience is going to love you. Now, Mike, as I just mentioned, you're a PGA member, which is an incredible feat in and of itself. You got a long list of productions under your belt. Just check you out at IMDb, and we'll everybody know what I'm talking about. And you got some stuff coming up, but you're always in action. You're out there on social media, killing it, working the craft, doing your thing. Mike, tell us all about yourself, how to get started, and where you at now.
Sure. So like you said, I'm originally from Kansas City, moved out to Los Angeles in 2012, and just hit the ground running. Didn't know anybody out there, didn't have any really resources or contacts, just started working and grinding and making moves and, being smart about it, and always had the idea that I was going to be a director or producer. Actually was a gaffer for a long time. I'll still actually go out on set if I like you and do your lighting for you. Got really good at that, but moved on to bigger and better, producing, directing, and then just said, screw it, I'm going to start doing features, come hell or high water. And I shot my very first feature, real feature anyway, in 2018. And that one was like a little horror movie, but it did really well. And I still, to this day, get really good residuals from it. So it's one of those where I'm like, damn, I'm glad I took a chance on myself. And now we're at feature number 3 it was just in the Cannes Film Festival back in April. So pretty cool. And, in March. And then, just onward and upward. We got a couple more projects coming up and looking forward to it.
Well, as we shared earlier, I'm a green filmmaker. I'm just starting out, and I sure learned a lot from the short that I just made. But your experience, what are some things that some newbie mistakes or maybe challenges that you experienced when you did your first couple of productions?
Well, I say this all the time. I actually learned more about directing and producing being a crew member than I really ever did making mistakes. I mean, I still make mistakes, and I'll tell you about all those. But I would watch other people do things where I'm like, whoa, avoid that. Like, for instance, if you spend all day planning out a oneer, like a continuous seamless shot, and you have everybody's on timing, and it takes you 8-9 hours just to knock something out perfectly, don't go in for coverage. Why would you would just shoot it regularly if you're going to chop it up anyway. So like, don't go in for coverage. You don't need that. And then people take this beautiful one take and then chop it all up, and then before you know it, it looks just like they could have done it in a few hours. You wasted a day. Your creatives are upset. It's like, that was one that I just remember being like, noted. But I've just found that you want to keep a pace, but you don't want to move too fast. I have 3 rules for me: no shouting, no swearing, no demeaning, no matter what, even if somebody messes up. And just because I'd seen other people you just look so foolish when you get emotional. And it's like, at the end of the day, we are playing pretend. We're playing pretend for money, like, we're not saving lives. We're not advancing the human species. We are creating entertainment, and it's work, but we are supposed to have fun. It is supposed to be a little fun. Nothing really, and outside of safety, nothing is worth stressing over.
I would agree. I mean, I think one of the most important things that I really wanted to see happen on when I did my show was just respect. Everybody respect each other.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's learning the process. A lot of these guys and gals are out there, sacrificing their time, if they're even getting paid at all.
Sure.
And it's important to respect the crew and cast, obviously. So with that, what are some of the genres that you tend to gravitate towards? I know the horror thing's there, but is there any favorites that you like to work in and play in?
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm not really a horror fan at all. The reason I made a horror film, the first one, was just because I knew that horror, Christmas, and faith-based films sell almost seamlessly. Like, there's not really a struggle getting in the door, and I really needed to get in the door with sales agents, distributors. So that was the mindset with the horror. And I mean, hell, they even changed the name from What's Buried in the Backyard to Digging to Death, but they can do that, by the way. But, that was, and honestly, I was trying to make something where stuff was jumping out at you and you're just scaring your pants off. And the best that I could do was Edgar Allan Poe, macabre style, So when I did my second one, I was like, well, let's just do some action. I like, machine guns and cars and cool stuff like that. And so I kind of went balls to the wall with action on the next one, and crime, like crime drama action, and it felt really good. It felt really easy, and I didn't really have to think too hard about navigating problems. And so that's kind of where I think I shook out, is crime drama action, a little bit of suspense, I guess, but mostly just crime and guns and cars and girls.
Sounds like you have all the elements covered. With that being said too, I kind of repeat myself when I say this, but it's of course it's an artistic medium. It's something that you take a lot of passion and you put a lot of work into. But of course, there's always the business side. So you have to, if you want to be successful, whether you like it or not, in this business, you have to give the people not just what you like, but what they want. And you touch upon the three things right there: horror, Christmas, and faith based.
Mhm.
Now, when you were shooting for which I think is a great strategy, by the way, especially if you're a beginner, is try to make yourself marketable.
Right.
Was there any pitfalls, anything with distribution, anything that you wish you would have did differently?
I mean, I don't know. I'm like one of those guys, everything happens for a reason kind of guy, So I think right now it's all worked out the way that it should. Like I've switched around sales agents. I've gotten better contacts now as I've progressed with distributors and whatnot. So I would just say just par for the course, keep on
Yeah.
moving. I did want to touch on something that you were saying though. I do think, it is smart to be strategic about your genre and whatnot. But as far as like giving people what they want, I think a lot of times it was like Rick Rubin that was saying, like, the audience comes last and they really don't typically know what they want. And I think to counter that, the best thing that you can do is make something that you think is cool, something that you can watch over and over again. Be smart about the genre, be smart about the shots. You don't want to be too avant-garde, but put your spin on it, put your flair, make your mark, And it's like, if you can make something that you can watch over and over again and not get tired of, not only did you win, but more than likely people will gravitate towards that, And as far as like the hard business element, I like to tell people, there is a way, and I actually teach a little online class about stacking your product for a sale, so you can kind of guarantee money right out of the gate when you sell, and you not have to worry about the market bringing money in and it's years of recoupment, But doing that takes strategy, and if you apply those strategies, you get to make the next movie. And really, the big goal should be to make this so you can secure the next one and then the next one. Because how many directors do you see that make one movie, one feature, and then that's it? They talk about that one for the rest of their lives, and that's all they got. And I mean, it is what it is. I'm not judging, but I would say, as a career and as a professional, a career-minded professional, you really want to hedge your bets towards the next motion picture, in any way you can.
Yeah, I think one, like for instance, for myself, I'm keeping myself to a goal of at least one, hopefully two productions a year, whether it's two shorts, a short and a feature, maybe one feature, but I want to keep myself on par to have a goal for continuous action. Otherwise, you said you'd be a one hit wonder, and nobody really cares, unfortunately.
But it was funny to me when I was first doing Digging to Death. Leading up to it, I had a lot of support, a lot of people like, "You got this, hell yeah," and there was a lot of love there. And then once I finished it, there were a lot of people kind of were like, didn't expect you to finish it. Now I don't know if I like that you actually did this, you know, but then also there was this really rude awakening of people not necessarily seeing it as like you've broken in, where you have to do like a second feature or a third feature to really get people like excited for your work and involved and think that you're capable of continuing on, because just one, you could just be another one hit wonder, you know, just like a bunch of people. So you got to keep just moving and going.
Well, and with that being said, you did prove yourself, obviously, because now, you're a Producers Guild member, which is again not an easy feat. Tell
Right.
us a little bit about that. How did that whole thing happen?
So at the time I joined, you needed a sponsor that was in the Producers Guild. And my first mentor, a guy named Ford Austin, was my sponsor. And then you needed two features that you like were the shot caller producer of. They got international distribution, so that you can reflect that you are a worldwide producer. You actually end up getting recommendation letters from other peers, other people, other producers, other people you'd worked with. So I was very fortunate to have Jim O'Hare from Parks and Rec wrote me a letter. See the head of Cartoon Network, Calvin Florian, he wrote me a letter. I had the casting team for the Coen brothers wrote me a letter, and I try to really, just hit them with as much ammunition as I can and as many high profiles as I could, and they approved it. And then apparently they do like a unanimous voting system where you have to be unanimously voted in. And so it was really cool to get that letter. They sent an actual physical letter with, saying I got in, and it was really neat.
So, Mike, it sounds like it's easier to get into the mob than it is to get into PGA.
I would just say, like if you have two pictures that you've done and they're out there, it shouldn't be too difficult. I would say that those two things are probably the hardest to get by. But once you get by, more than likely you'll have a group of people that want to see you succeed,
And can you tell us your experience? I mean, being a part of the guild, is it made you put you on a whole other level? Is it giving you a whole lot more, let's say, legitimacy? Has it given you more opportunity?
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely legitimacy. It's because now no one's going to question whether or not I'm a movie producer, but especially at this point. But I would just say, it's a really good guild. They send out like opportunities for job offers for work, like bigger companies that are looking for producers or media people will ask them, and like as well as the DGA and whoever, but they're on the list, and then they send it out to their members. They do a produced by conference every year on a studio lot. This year is going to be at the Universal lot, but formerly was always at the Fox lot. And you get to meet with all the members and, team members. And then there's always high profile speakers, high profile producers that talk about their experience and encourage. And then you can like do some mentorship stuff where you can sit down with like bigger studio guys and talk about what you're doing, who you're with, etc., and then just form a game plan. So it's cool. It's a great union.
And just like everything, I mean, just access. That's life. Most of life, one of my sayings, most of life is about access. And God bless you if you have it. So, and you're in the perfect place. All right, so let's talk about what's going on now and what can we look forward to in the future as far as projects.
Yeah, so my new project that just came out called The Devil Comes to Kansas City is a Tubi original, and that one came out about a year and a half ago. I'm pretty proud of that. It's like Taken with a little supernatural twist in there. So, and if you don't have Tubi, it's free to get, free to watch. Pretty cool. Get to spread the art without people having to like bust out their dollars for it, And then I've got a new project called Winter Set that we shot in Madison County, Iowa, actually, like out in the cold, out in the snow. Brought some people back from Devil, and yeah, that one's hopefully coming out this year, and it's a really good movie. I'm really proud of it.
That's great, man. Well, listen, we'll make sure we add links to everything in the
Sure.
description box. So all you out there watching, please make sure you check out the description box. We're going to have Michael's links to his social media as well as any ways to watch his movies, and please support him. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to me. Mike, it's been a great pleasure, brother. I really enjoy talking to you, especially as a new guy, talking to somebody who's kind of been there, done that. And I really wish you the best of luck with all the future projects.
Oh, Vince. Well, thank you so much for having me. And, I look forward to seeing what you cook up. And obviously, if you need help, I'm right here, man.
I probably will not leave you alone after you saying that now.
Bring it.
But again, folks, make sure you please support Michael in all his projects. And until next time, let's keep us updated, please. And you definitely got supporters here. Anytime you want to come back, we'd love to have you back on.
Oh, I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man.
All right, we'll see you next time. You've been watching Vinny Presents. Our guest again has been filmmaker Michael Blevins. We'll check you out next time. Thanks again.